Hello, that's a little bit better volume. Okay, let me pull up OBS directly, and you have a blank slate because what I'm working on today is some like physical assembly of some stuff. So I can show the basic thing. So, got a bunch of cassettes that I'm assembling stuff for, and I like having a box for the cassette itself. So a while ago, I made a template, and I was messing around a little bit with it more recently for different ways to approach it, making a cutout window on the front here is part of it, and also a little, it's called a J card, but in this case it's more of an L card because a J card and a cassette tape is this guy. It's typically the artwork and whatever sort of other information. And it's called a J card because when you look at it from the side, I guess this way, it's a J. But I have a Cricut cutter now. Originally I was cutting these out by hand and it took a long time. The actual mechanism here, that latches onto itself just through pressure and the ridge of paper folded over here. I based that on some salted licorice things when I went to Copenhagen and I got salted licorice. I just would fiddle with the container all the time. I forget what the thing is called, but that's what I was messing with, and I liked the feel of it. I wanted something else to cover the cassette tape, so I made a design for that, and all I'm working on today is doing a few of those. So now I have a Cricut cutter. It's much easier to cut these out. It takes essentially no time comparatively, and so let me just pull this off. I also got some new mats today, which makes this a smoother, cleaner, and just overall nicer experience. And I've got tweezers that tear in this paper, but these are cutout bits. You know, this will be easier if I just take this off and then slide the other elements off. This is stickier than what I've been working with, so I gotta go a little bit slower. These cutting mats have like a moderate amount of stickiness to them that since this is a new mat, it's stickier than what I've been working with. It'll lose some of its tackiness as time goes on. So this is a bit stickier than what I've been working with in recent times. Also ending up with a little bit of curl there, but I'm just assembling some of these today. There's not too much going on. Let's slide under here and be cautious with this guy because it has some weaker points in the middle, and then get rid of these pieces of paper. Made the design just in Illustrator, and initially I was printing it off and then cutting it by hand, and when I was doing that, the cutting was this has curves in it if you're looking at the edges here, which is actually, you get a better result of that with the Cricut cutter than you do with harsh pointy edge. But it's harder to do that by hand. And I'm using this double-sided tape thing that I got. It's a little dispenser. Got to be a little bit careful because I was doing a little bit more sculptural-like stuff yesterday. Now I'm gonna work on assembling this. But this is some double-sided tape to tape it up. There's not too much excitement with what's happening today. Pre-fold. These have score marks on them, which is nice. Before I got a score tool, it would either be doing a bone folder on all of these edges, or designing lines that would just be small cuts. This is easier to tape at this stage. That was a little bit haphazard of a fold there. Let's get a little lower. Am I just fully off here? This is an important fold, so let's get that nice and smooth. And where does this need tape? This needs tape along here and then along here. Or I can do it one step at a time. There. And there. Fold this. And that top section's assembled, and then I get to decide how I want to go about this. Typically I go as such. I'm trying to think whether or not it's better to tape on this edge. Holds in place. It holds better in place when there's a cassette box inside. I also might trim this slightly. I've had some issues with the length of this tab. That's a little bit better. Let's fold that a little tighter. Yeah. Okay. And then here's what the J card sort of deal is. It's not too much here. I can talk about why I'm doing it this way. I'm gonna put on gloves because I don't want to get my fingerprints all over the plastic of the tape, just so I can show you, and then I'll take a break from assembling things in this manner. And depending on how I'm feeling, I'll just blow air from my mouth into the gloves, but my mouth has a lot of moisture in it. So using the little, it's a thing to clear out dust from camera lenses, stuff like that. So here's the tape that I have. These attract a lot of stuff. For this J card, what I want is, I have some issues with that. I don't want it to cover any of this full back section because I want all of this color to be visible. So it still has the 120 thing written there, but it's not visible otherwise. And then this window on this side. This isn't the best tape for it visually, but they have that bit of color pop through. Then it's closed. It's all its own deal. I messed with a few different kinds of paper. I got some like glossy cardstock, but I think I prefer this being matte cardstock because it contrasts the interior plastic to a greater degree. This one's semi-glossy. It's okay. But same sort of deal. I forget if that's a semi-glossy insert, but this one also has a nicer tactile feel to it. This one's squeaky. This one looks a little bit more like it's a large produced thing. I don't know if it's easier to manufacture using gloss or semi-gloss, if it's just a preference. If it hides glue or other things better. If it holds an edge nicer, that's something that you have to consider when assembling anything out of paper. Using folds is that depending on the grain direction of the paper, it'll affect how severe the paper cracks. Also how you fold it, if you fold it like one way first, if you fold it completely in half, or if you only fold it enough to maintain the structure that you're looking to have, a 90-degree fold, but it's hard to fold something only 90 degrees. So yeah, it's a mixed bag anytime that you're dealing with anything, really. Let's see if I can't bend that down a little bit. But you get that visual pocket, closes up. The tape itself is largely anonymous. And then little J card that doesn't cover this back section, which is atypical for cassette tapes. I might actually just go ahead and, if I am doing this with a number of these, close this up and mark this on the back so that I know what number it is. It's frame 30. No. close this up. This is number 27. This one has a bit more of that color peeking through, which is nice. That's all I'm doing today is making some of these guys, and I can show you what these tapes look like. Modified 120 tape files. Where is the one I'm looking for? Overhead aligned. Okay. This is what these tapes look like sequentially. This one's a little bit darker, but it's 30 of these tapes that create a loop, and eventually have them for sale. But for the time being, I'm just assembling, compiling, and getting everything together because it takes time. I don't know what number this is. 29. Okay, this is a test one. This one, the tape is too large. Like the, not the tape, but the, I don't know if you can see it on the reflection here, but there's this double-sided tape. I had these tabs a little bit shorter because when I first made them, I was gluing to assemble them, but that's annoying to deal with. So I switched over to using double-sided tape, but the tabs here have to be longer, and so this one has to be shorter, a bunch of different things. Work on assembling another one. I haven't had a new mat in a while, and I just got a collection of off-brand mats, and as a result, I was not considering how sticky they are, which is nice for having everything held in place, but it also means that you have to be a little bit more careful with removing elements or taking stuff off in general. Because I have some things on here that are mildly fragile. Not so terribly fragile, but enough to where I want to be slow with it. Perhaps more so on this bottom section. Because these have some smaller gaps. From here I can go ahead and fold. Actually I can't, because it's folded backwards. All of these materials are basically calling out for hairs to attract to them because it's plastic. So it's... Sorry for that noise. Thin plastic paper that's rubbing against the plastic that generates static, and then all of the surfaces are sticky. So it's just all asking for more and more hairs to show up. Might as well do these in stages. I don't need to wear gloves at this point. A little bit all over the place. Okay. I'm just going to remove these 4 that I have taped and cut, and then I'm gonna start assembling. And I have an additional 4 that are not cut, but the mats are prepped. I had not considered before that having it adhered on here can function as a folding stage, reinforcing whatever weak points that I've made. It's very sticky right now. Hairs everywhere. Some of these have a little bit of a feel on them. Hopefully residue is not it's all in the interior, so it doesn't affect the feel, but over it once I have all the things separated out. I tore that one. I tore it a little bit and then I was like, yeah, and then I tore it a lot. That's okay. That's how it goes sometimes. These will be a little bit more forgiving as time goes on. Try to be a little more careful this time. I tore it right here. One last one to remove. symbol remaining? I think it's just 6 or 7. Trying to do it, but discard it. Okay. Gotta be a little bit more careful in general. Okay. So I lost 2, so I have 6 of these. Which feels like far fewer than it is. And like it was more work to get here, but that's just how anything goes where making multiple of something. In my mind I'm like, 1 isn't that bad. 2 isn't that bad either, but once you get like to 4, the amount of time required, it feels a little bit draining because it's more repetitive. little bit of variation in the orientation of the tapes themselves based on what color is brightest on the interior, but I was going to have an additional 8. I lost 2 in the folding process because a number of these have issues with the pulling off the mat. There were some issues, but this is what I got. 30, 29, 28, 27, 26, 25, 24. I have 30 total. This is 7 out of 30, which means that I'm a little over 20% done. That's it for today. I'll maybe assemble more of these. I don't have any like set timeline on when these are actually going to be available for purchase. I want to coordinate it with some other stuff, but that's it for now. Wait, is this glossy? Is there one? Doesn't really matter. Need to clean up some stuff, but in the meantime, I'll go over my spiel. If you want to buy stuff from me, you can go to my web store, traceloops.com/store. If you want to purchase something and have it shipped outside of the US, you can email me, traceloops@traceloops.com. You can also email me with comments, concerns, questions, curiosities, commissions, etc., etc. Again, that is traceloops@traceloops.com. If you want to watch this stream or other streams in full, you can do so by going to the live section of my YouTube channel. If you want to follow me on other platforms, you can follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, Spotify, all of those places. I'm Traceloops, TRECELOOPS. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can do so by going to patreon.com/Traceloops, where you'll find high-resolution versions of artwork that I create during streams. You'll also find a selection of tutorials, and then at higher tiers, new songs for me weekdays, and at the highest tier, you get a monthly postcard from me with original artwork on the front, little message on the back, and a discount to that aforementioned web store. Will not be streaming tomorrow, so I'll plan on being back Monday. Might mess around a little bit over the weekend with trying to figure out some Blender stuff to export SVGs so that I can successfully have or save a lot of time in what I did yesterday, cutting out stuff in Cricut from Blender files. Because I traced over an existing animation, but I think that there's a way to export things as vector. I'll look more into that. There's got to be some sort of workaround. Other people have probably tried to do it. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm going to head out. Have a good afternoon, evening, and I'll be back Monday. Adios.